Welcome to the channel where today we dive deep into the incredible story of a small coin with a face value of just 1 cent but an astronomical price tag in the collector's market, the 1979 1 cent USA coin that has shocked the world of numismatics by reaching a mind-blowing valuation of $7 million because of its unique combination of errors, mistakes, rarity, and history. And as you stay with me through this script, you will discover why such a tiny piece of copper-plated zinc has captured the fascination of coin enthusiasts, investors, treasure hunters, and historians alike, turning an ordinary pocket change into a once-in-a-lifetime fortune. And this is not an exaggeration because countless collectors across America and the globe have spent years hunting for these elusive and error-ridden coins that showcase the quirks of minting in 1979 when the Denver Mint produced billions of coins, but a handful came out with striking anomalies that make them treasures today. So, let's go layer by layer and understand what makes this coin so extraordinary and how these minting errors translate into millions. Because in the late 1970s the United States Mint was dealing with issues of production efficiency, metal shortages, die deterioration, and new coinage methods that occasionally led to inconsistencies in the pressing and striking process. And among those inconsistencies appeared rare varieties of the 1979 penny that collectors prize more than gold, starting with double die errors, off-center strikes, misaligned dies, weak strikes, clipped planchets, broad strikes, die breaks known as cuds, repunched mint marks, and even transitional metal compositions, and when you combine these errors with the age and survival rarity of coins kept in pristine condition, you create the perfect storm of value that elevates 1 cent to the worth of millions. So imagine finding in your change a 1979 penny with a double die obverse where Lincoln's profile shows doubled outlines, or with doubled lettering on Liberty, or "In God We Trust," details so sharp that experienced collectors and grading companies authenticate them as unique varieties. And such doubling errors are not printing mistakes but the result of die hubs being pressed multiple times in misaligned fashion during die creation. And in the numismatic world, the clearer and more dramatic the doubling, the more valuable the coin. Sometimes fetching hundreds of thousands alone, but when a coin like this is paired with other dramatic anomalies, its value skyrockets. Then consider off-center strikes where the design of the penny is shifted away from its normal circular position, leaving blank spaces of planchet exposed, with extreme off-centers sometimes showing only half of Lincoln's portrait, and in rare cases both sides struck off-center in dramatic fashion. Such examples become highly desirable because they vividly illustrate the error process in a way visible even to non-experts, making them especially attractive for auction houses where visual appeal plays a role in hammer prices. And then there are clipped planchets where the blank metal disc punched from sheets to make coins has been cut incorrectly, leaving crescent shapes or flat edges. These mint errors rarely survive circulation, and when discovered attached to a valuable year like 1979 they become even rarer. And then you find die cracks or die breaks called cuds, which look like raised blobs or lines on the coin surface, created when the metal die cracked during use, leaving unique raised features that can cover letters or parts of Lincoln's head, making every coin with such a cut effectively unique. And rarity in uniqueness translates directly into value because no two coins with the same cud look identical. Then you move into the fascinating world of repunched mint marks, known as RPMs, where the D mint mark from Denver was punched into the die multiple times by hand in slightly different positions, creating doubled or tripled mint marks that collectors obsess over. And though many RPMs exist for different years, the 1979 has some highly sought-after examples that magnify its appeal. And when one coin combines a dramatic doubled die with a strong RPM, and maybe even a clipped planchet or cud, its value doesn't just double or triple but multiplies exponentially because such combinations are nearly impossible to replicate. And another layer comes with transitional errors, which occur when the mint changes metal composition, but some planchets from the previous year remain in the system. And while the official copper to zinc transition happened in 1982, experimental or leftover planchets have occasionally been used earlier or later, meaning some 1979 coins could have been struck on unusual metal alloys, creating even more intrigue for metallurgical testing. And collectors will pay outrageous sums for confirmed off-metal strikes because of their rarity. Now think of condition, because even If a coin has dramatic errors, if it is scratched, worn, or corroded, its value diminishes, but when preserved in mint state condition graded by top agencies like PCGS or NGC at MS65, MS67, or even MS69, the combination of condition plus error elevates the piece to elite status. And here lies the foundation of the $7 million valuation, because a 1979 D penny with the right combination of doubling, RPM, off-center strike, pristine condition, and provenance from a recognized collection becomes priceless in competitive auctions where wealthy investors and institutions battle for ownership of a unique numismatic artifact. And the fascination is not just about the coin itself but about the story it carries, a story of human error in the minting process, of historical context in 1979 America with inflation concerns and coinage reforms, of accidental survival as collectors set aside odd-looking pennies while others were lost to circulation, and of discovery decades later when grading technology and numismatic scholarship could properly identify the anomalies, making once ignored pennies into million-dollar treasures. And this explains why YouTube channels, coin blogs, and auction houses generate so much excitement about the 1979 D penny, because the possibility that someone could find such a coin in a jar, drawer, or inherited collection feels like a modern-day treasure hunt, fueling dreams of turning a cent into millions. And beyond the errors, we also must consider the psychology of rarity, because in collecting markets perceived scarcity and demand drive value as much as technical details. So when stories spread of a 1979 D penny fetching 7 figures, more people join the hunt, driving demand higher, creating a feedback loop where each verified sale sets a new benchmark and pushes the next coin to even greater heights. And investors see these coins not only as collectibles but as alternative assets, hedging against inflation and diversifying portfolios. With physical rarities that carry historical and cultural cachet, meaning that 1 cent becomes more than money, it becomes a tangible piece of history and wealth. So as you can see, this 1979 D 1 cent USA coin that costs $7 million today is not simply a fluke of valuation but the result of a perfect blend of errors, minting anomalies, survival rarity, pristine condition, collector demand, investor interest, auction drama, and historical storytelling, making it a legendary coin in the world of numismatics. And if you think about it, the lesson here is that attention to detail matters, because what most people dismiss as pocket change might actually be a once-in-a-lifetime jackpot. So keep checking your coins, educate yourself on errors and varieties, and maybe someday you'll be the one holding a small copper piece that the world is willing to pay millions for. And if this journey into the world of the 1979 D penny has fascinated you, make sure to like this video, share it with friends who might have coin jars waiting to be searched, and subscribe to the channel so you never miss more incredible stories of tiny coins with giant price tags that could change lives. Next, 1972 No Mint Mark 1 cent USA coin, another deep dive into the fascinating world of rare coins and hidden treasures, where today we unravel the unbelievable story of the 1972 No Mint Mark USA 1 cent coin, a coin that has astonished collectors, historians, and investors alike by reaching a staggering valuation of $9 million because of its rare errors, minting mistakes, and the unique circumstances that made it one of the most desirable pennies in American numismatic history. And before we go into the technicalities, let's build the picture, because 1972 was a year when billions of Lincoln cents were minted in Philadelphia without a mint mark, and most of them were ordinary pocket change used by millions of Americans in their daily lives. But tucked away in that massive production run were a handful of coins that bore extraordinary features, errors so striking and rare that today they are considered priceless. And this is where the magic of numismatics comes alive, because while most people see a penny as almost worthless, the trained eye of a collector knows that details matter and that one overlooked anomaly can transform a coin's value from 1 cent to millions. So let's break down why the 1972 No Mint Mark penny has such legendary status, starting with its most famous error variety, the doubled die obverse, known in the coin community simply as the 1972 doubled die. One of the most dramatic doubling errors in U.S. history, where the words Liberty and In God We Trust, as well as the date 1972 itself, appear with strong, clear doubling visible even to the naked eye, making it one of those rare cases where even beginners can spot the error without magnification. And because this doubling occurred on the master hub used to create working dies, multiple coins were struck with this dramatic anomaly, but only a few survived in pristine condition. And among those survivors, the finest examples command astronomical sums, with stories of sales at auctions for hundreds of thousands, and when paired with pristine mint state grades like MS66 or higher, the rarity and dramatic doubling create a perfect storm of demand. But the legendary $9 million coin goes beyond even the standard doubled die, because the unique specimen that reached that valuation is believed to have a combination of errors, including a dramatic doubled die cracks, planchet irregularities, and perhaps even unusual metal composition, making it truly one of a kind. And this is what sets numismatics apart from other collectibles, because while millions of coins exist, only one or two with the right combination of flaws and conditions become priceless. Now let's dive deeper into the mechanics of the doubled die itself, because understanding how such errors occur helps us appreciate their rarity. During the early 1970s, the process of hubbing dies involved pressing a master hub into a blank die multiple times to transfer the design, and if those impressions were misaligned even slightly, it created doubling. And in 1972 some working dies were made with dramatic misalignment, resulting in Lincoln's profile surrounded by doubled lettering, a visual oddity that immediately sets the coin apart. And when coins like this entered circulation, some sharp-eyed individuals set them aside while most others remained unnoticed for decades, quietly surviving in drawers, jars, or collections until numismatic interest grew, and grading agencies like PCGS and NGC started certifying them, giving them official recognition that dramatically increased their market value. But let's not stop there, because other error varieties also exist for 1972 no-mint mark pennies, including minor doubled dies, weak strikes, die clashes where images from one side transfer faintly to the other, off-center strikes that leave blank spaces, broad strikes without rims, and even planchet errors such as laminations where the metal surface peels away. Each of these anomalies adds intrigue and value, and when collectors find multiple errors on a single coin, they know they've struck gold, because combination errors are exponentially rarer. And then there are cuds, die breaks that appear as raised blobs or missing design sections, giving each coin a unique fingerprint, and some 1972 cents are known with dramatic cuds that collectors prize. But what pushes a coin into the multi-million-dollar range is not just an error but the perfect combination of condition, rarity, demand, and historical significance. And here the 1972 no-mint mark penny shines brightly, because its doubled die variety is one of the most popular errors ever, recognized by both experts and amateurs, giving it a huge base of demand. And when you pair that with a one-of-a-kind specimen that combines multiple anomalies and has survived in gem mint state condition, you get a coin worthy of $9 million. And let's think about condition for a moment, because while thousands of doubled die 1972 pennies were made, most circulated heavily, losing their luster and sharpness, making them worth modest premiums. But the tiny fraction that was preserved carefully from the start, remaining brilliant and free of scratches, became the true treasures, and among those, the single best specimen, possibly with a pedigree from a famous collection, gains legendary status. Auction houses love coins like this because they tell a story, not just of minting accidents but of survival against odds. And when they hit the auction block, wealthy investors compete fiercely, driving prices into the millions. And this has happened with other coins too, like the 1913 Liberty Nickel or the 1933 Double Eagle. But for Lincoln cents, the 1972 double die is among the absolute top, and it continues to grow in value as more collectors enter the market, chasing the dream of owning such an iconic rarity. And beyond the errors and condition, we also have to consider the psychological appeal, because this coin represents the ultimate treasure hunt. The idea that an ordinary penny in circulation could secretly be worth a fortune excites people, sparking searches through jars, rolls, and piggy banks, and countless YouTube videos and news stories fuel the frenzy, each discovery of a double-die penny renewing hope that the next one could be even rarer. And this is why the 1972 no-mint mark penny is not just a coin but a cultural phenomenon, teaching people to look closer, appreciate detail, and Realize that value can hide in plain sight, and when we talk about a $9 million coin, we're talking about the pinnacle of this phenomenon, the single best example in the world, a coin so perfect, so rare, and so iconic that it transcends normal pricing and becomes a symbol of numismatic passion. So imagine finding such a coin in your collection, holding in your hand a piece of copper worth more than a mansion. A piece of history that connects the quirks of the minting process to the thrill of discovery, and this possibility fuels the continuing search, inspiring new generations of collectors, because the story of the 1972 no-mint mark penny is not finished. It continues every day in the hands of people checking their change, and who knows, the next record-breaking coin might still be out there, waiting to be found. So the lesson is clear: pay attention to details, learn to recognize doubling. Check your coins for unusual features, and never underestimate the power of knowledge in turning small things into life-changing fortunes. And as we close this incredible story of the 1972 no-mint mark penny that reached $9 million, remember that numismatics is not just about money, it's about history, art, chance, and the human desire to collect and preserve. And this is why we celebrate these tiny treasures, because they remind us that even the smallest objects can hold the greatest value. So if you enjoyed this journey, make sure to like this video, share it with friends who might have coins waiting to be discovered, and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the next unbelievable story of rare coins worth millions. Because who knows, the next penny you pick up could be the key to your own fortune.